This tangled web around Justice Clarence Thomas just gets worse and worse by the day. I don't know what's going to come up next. I thought I'd heard it all, but more disclosures about his activities it embarrasses me. The question is whether it embarrasses the Supreme Court and the Chief Justice.
The number 2 Democrat in the Senate, Dick Durbin of Illinois, speaking yesterday about the wave of recent allegations surrounding Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas and his wife, Ginny. Last month, the Pulitzer Prize-winning news site ProPublica revealed the findings of an investigation that showed for years the Thomases have been financially benefiting from a close friendship with billionaire and Republican donor Harlan Crow. Those allegations and the upbringings of Clarence and Ginny Thomas are the focus of a new documentary from Frontline and PBS premiering tomorrow. Take a look.
A bombshell report in ProPublica.
Clarence Thomas accepted millions of dollars of luxury vacations.
Amid controversy.
Ginny Thomas under scrutiny for her efforts to help to overturn the election.
Their histories.
She grew up with Republican activism.
He felt resentment, victimization, anger.
Their influence.
It's often referred to as the Thomas Court.
Roe versus Wade is overruled.
They are the it couple of the far right.
Wow. Joining us now, producer and director of Clarence and Ginny Thomas, Politics, Power, and the Supreme Court, Michael Kirk. Michael, thank you for being on this morning. This documentary, I mean, in light of all the revelations from ProPublica of trips worth hundreds of thousands of dollars of school tuition and homes being paid for, you take a look at what shaped these two people politically and how it might have come to this point. Can you tell us what you found?
Well, it's thanks for having me here. It's an amazing tale. We started out just to try to figure out why people were calling it the Thomas Court and not the Roberts Court or the Alito Court. And once we dove in there into that conservative world and how Thomas is who Thomas is, we started back. It meant we had to get back into his life and go all the way up to now. And it's a fascinating story, almost like one person in our film says it's almost novelistic that he becomes who he becomes and the way he does it, and especially the part where he meets up with Ginny and you discover all the things you didn't know about her, which is also tremendously interesting and endlessly fascinating to me. And we're not done yet. Here comes the news again, over and over again. So that's how we started, and that's where we ended up.
So can you tell us what you found out about the backgrounds of these two individuals or their relationship? And then when the ProPublica news broke, I take it you were probably already working on this. How did those revelations fit into everything you were finding?
It's very interesting. What you discover about Thomas in his life is a set of resentments and grievances that grow out of rejection all across the board. From when he was a little kid in Georgia, living in desperate circumstances, the other black kids made fun of him. His mother handed him over to his very stern and abusive grandfather. He goes off to the seminary to try to become the first black priest in Savannah, Georgia. The whole community black community is eager for him to succeed. He fails. He comes back home, rejected by the grandfather, goes off to Yale. He's law school. He's as part of affirmative action. He's rejected there, on and on and on. It's a story of Clarence looking for home, and home, by the time we get to here, is rich, conservative, white people. And Ginny, her story is very, Midwestern, couldn't be more different than Clarence's. But what you discover is she grows up in a family of very conservative, Goldwater Republicans, John Birch Society, all of that. And her world becomes binary. And what she's on is a kind of spiritual crusade ever since she was a young girl in Omaha. And when the two get together, that's when the sparks fly and they aim for where they are now.
Michael Al Sharpton, do you get into the sense that Justice Thomas really is a true believer in what he is supported, voted for as a justice. I ask that because around maybe 15 years ago, he wrote a memoir, and a mutual friend of ours asked me to sit with him, and I did go with a lot of reluctance and meet with him in his chamber. And I was absolutely amazed that even with just 3 of us in a room, that he really believes in this crazy stuff, in my opinion, crazy, that he advocates. There was, I guess I was waiting for him to wink and say, yeah, brother, so-and-so. But no, he really acts like he believes that stuff. Do you get into how it builds up to that this guy, as wrong as I think he is and as backward as I think his decisions are for the country, he seems to be a true believer, which to me is even more depressing.
It's fascinating, Reverend. And it's a good retelling of the way that he feels now. It wasn't always so. In the 60s, he loved the Black Panthers. People called him Clarence X. His idol was Malcolm X. Separatism was everything he believed in, including not interracial marriage. A lot about Clarence Thomas's early years is fascinating in the sense that you watch the trajectory coming out of the rejection, and each time he's rejected by a different group and he's seeking home, he follows the politics of whatever the group is that's going to support him, so that by the time he's in Reagan's Washington, where he's joined the Republican revolution with Reagan, because as one person in the film says, the line was shorter for black people over there than it is with the Democratic Party. So Clarence noticed that and began to adapt and adopt the politics of Reagan so that he could support him from the background. And that was really, Reverend, the ticket for him to move up and raise enough eyebrows and enough attention for himself to become potentially a nominee for the United States Supreme Court in a Republican administration.
Michael, Elise Jordan here. It's very rare for the spouse of a Supreme Court justice to be so front and center and politically active. Can you tell us what you learned about how they met and what kind of influence Ginni Thomas has had on her husband's belief system?
Ginni was raised by, she was what she called a mistake child. So much older siblings, parents very, very, very conservative and politically active in Omaha. And rather than rejecting her parents like almost everybody in America does, especially during the 60s, Ginni became a true believer, went with her mother to the conventions. Her mom was a follower and one of the leaders of the Phyllis Schlafly movement. And Ginni was right in there the whole way. So very binary view of the world, not different than Clarence's. Hers was Clarence was by the time they met, very much moving away from the black world and the black support and his home in the black world to white people. There was Ginni also moving away from liberalism, from feminism, and all of that. They get together at a convention against anti-affirmative action in New York. They share a cab, and the rest becomes sort of history. And it's fascinating because Clarence had been in a real trough before meeting Ginni. No nurturing, nobody close, not a really close friend. He'd been drinking too much. His marriage had fallen apart. And Ginni kind of comes in and gives him whatever that feeling of home is. She also becomes his primary advisor. At one moment, he's not reading any national news, not paying attention to anything, and Ginni is his eyes and ears on the world. Ginni and one other person, Rush Limbaugh, who becomes a great friend of his.
Oh, my gosh. And
between the two of them, that's how his worldview gets established. To go back to the Reverend's point, if your advisors, your top advisors are Ginni Thomas or Ginni Lamp in those days, and Rush Limbaugh, that explains an awful lot about how he ends up, who he ends up being.